What's up, guys? Alright, haven't made a video in a while, but I wanted to make one due to the recent market sell-off. There's a lot of deals out there, and I want to go through some of the deals that I'm looking at and some that might interest you. So let's start with this first one. Amazon, huge company. You know exactly what they do. Tremendous growth potential still in the future. Very attractive deal right now. You can see that there was a major sell-off after earnings. The earnings were good. You can look right here. They basically, the surprise was 23%. They beat the estimates. It's really the forecast for the next quarter, and they were a little bit more safe in their assumptions. So that's what the major sell-off was about. But as you can see on the MACD, we're still trending down. On the RSI, we're very oversold, which is a good thing. I would consider starting to build a position at this point, and I still think that it might fall a little bit further before consolidating and moving its way back up. So either, if you have a long-term outlook, feel free to buy in now and just let it recover a bit. Or if you're more of a swing trader, or you're not, you don't have the same level of risk to go all in, then now would be a chance to start building your position as it's falling, or wait till you see a upward movement and it comes back, and then start to accumulate shares in that position. But Amazon's a great company, and it's definitely one to look out for. Next up is Alibaba. Basically, it's the Chinese version of Amazon. It's a very similar situation. It's been selling off for a while, as you can see. There's a lot of unknowns as far as Chinese stocks go. So, there, in addition to the U.S. market sell-off, the China market sell-off is even worse. So, this is primed and ready for a reversal, in my opinion. This is a long-term hold, very similar to Amazon. As you can see, it continues to sell off on the MACD. It doesn't look like it's going to start moving upwards anytime soon. On the RSI, we're super oversold. Again, with Amazon, what I would do is I would start to build a position now, and this is definitely one that you want to keep in mind. Next one up here is Key Holdings, ticker symbol BEKE. Alright, so this is another Chinese stock. This is a real estate company, missed on earnings. Again, overall U.S. market sell-off, but Chinese companies have been hit even worse. This is one that I made a video on. I think that long-term there's some major potential. Again, way oversold on the RSI. The MACD turned positive for a little bit, and now it seems to be trending down. So this is one that I would start to accumulate as you see it fall. That's only my opinion, though. This is not financial advice. And just keeping with the same theme, we're going to look at Baidu here, which is a Chinese stock search engine similar to Google. Again, major sell-off since highs. If you look here, we have highs from about, just to be conservative, we'll say about 338. Now we're at 137. That is a tremendous fall from grace. If you look at the MACD, it's still bearish. The RSI, very oversold. Another great long-term stock. They did well on earnings. I would consider picking this up as well and just holding for the long term. Moving away from some of the Chinese stocks right now, this is Canopy Growth Corporation. Again, another trend. All these charts look very similar. I mean, you have a major run-up and a major sell-off, and this just continues to fall. Very oversold on the RSI. I think that this is a good company. I bought in previously as it was trending upwards, and I will add more to my position and start dollar cost averaging. I believe that federal legalization is coming soon, or at least it will in the future. So a company like this, I think there's a lot more room for it to run. If nothing else, at least it'll get back to 40s. So I would feel comfortable to start accumulating this stock at this time. And here's another very popular stock amongst retail traders, Corsair Gaming. I know there's a very prominent YouTuber that swears by this company. And what's interesting is the chart is a lot smoother looking. I mean, you did have this run up back here in the end of November and early December. But since then, we've come down, consolidated, dropped down a little bit to a new level. The overall trend is down, but it hasn't been hit as hard as some of the other stocks that we've seen. It's very oversold on the RSI. I would be very interested in buying Corsair Gaming at this level, at least starting to accumulate more shares. I just think that there's tremendous growth in that whole industry of gaming and PC tools and hardware. I think that there is more room to run for this company. Next stock up here is ticker symbol DM Desktop Metal. They do 3D printing for metal for manufacturing. I think this is a very this is a future stock if I've ever seen one. I've bought this stock before on its run up. I mean, you're pretty much going to get the same story from most of the stocks that I've owned that are smaller retail level stocks. I bought it on the run up and I've been watching it crash ever since. So I've been waiting for a good opportunity to buy, and we've seen good opportunities. We've seen some consolidation here, but I've really been just waiting it out, keeping cash on the sidelines for a big dip, and I think we're starting to see that in general in the market right now. Very oversold on the RSI. The MACD, there's not a lot of action going on. There's not a lot of big bars over here. There's a big sell-off, obviously. Here there's a pretty nice run-up. We have some more run-ups over here. But as you can see, we kind of slowed down. We're just kind of consolidating. Decent earnings, but I think that this is a stock to watch in the near future to make a balance. Next up is Ford. Just a car company that's starting to do more in the EV space. As with other companies, they're part of the sell-off. Very oversold in the RSI. I've always looked at Ford, but it never really did anything for me. It wasn't as exciting, but at these levels, it might be worth picking up some shares. Fiverr is another one that you can see a giant drop. Huge red bars on the MACD. Super oversold in the RSI. They did well in earnings, but I think with the world starting to open up, it took a hit. So I'm definitely looking at Fiverr. I'm waiting for more of a consolidation. The MACD is starting to turn bullish, but I think that there still could be more of a drop. So I'm watching this for a potential entry point. Kuya is a Chinese stock, an entertainment stock in the TV space. Again, as with most Chinese companies, major drop off, major RSI oversold. MACD has continued to be bearish. I would be considering buying in at these levels and starting to average down. I don't have a position in this as of now, but I've considered it. So keep this on your radar. Hylion is another one. Way back when this was the first major SPAC deal. Shell, SHLL, went crazy. We got to about 60, and then it sold off, and it's just been basically consolidating and selling off, staying at this 9-10 level for a long time now. There are some people that are holding bags on this. I sold out of my position once it was, in the 40s or something like that. So I think it's a decent company for the future. I would be considering buying at these levels, or at least starting to accumulate. So that's another one to keep on your radar. It's an EV stock, so there is potential for it there. JD.com, another Chinese stock, pretty popular in the retail space. Oversold on the RSI, big red bars on the MACD, dropping lower and lower. I would wait to see what happens with earnings before picking up shares. It's a company I've been watching for a long time, but it was always just too overvalued. I think now is a good time to start buying, but like I said, I will wait till earnings to see what it does at that point and probably buy after earnings. Jumia is another e-commerce stock. They call it like the Amazon of Africa. Another stock that I've been looking at for a long time, but it just was always too expensive for me. Now it's starting to come back to good levels. It missed on earnings a bit, but overall, I think this is a good future company to start owning, and I might start taking a position if it continues to sell off, which it looks to be doing. Mara now, this is an interesting stock. It's called Marathon Digital Holdings, MARA. Very close to Bitcoin. They own Bitcoin. They mine Bitcoin. So it's very tied to the Bitcoin space. Bitcoin is projected to do very well towards the end of this year. You can see the stock kind of consolidated. Now it's working its way slowly back up. On the MACD, it looks to be going bearish a bit, but that could turn around quick. So this is another one that you might want to look at now rather than later. Just keep it on your radar. Pinterest is another very interesting stock. I actually bought this as it dropped on good earnings with bad forecasted numbers. So you can see that it's very oversold on the RSI. MACD looks bearish. It looks like it's turning more bearish. I didn't go all in on this. I bought some of the dip, and I will continue to buy as it drops and then ride the recovery back up. I think it's a good overall stock, and it will make a recovery. Plug Power. This is another interesting stock that I'm keeping my eye on. It missed some earnings, and it's just been consolidating and kind of selling off here and there. But I think now that it's come off of its highs, I think that this could be worth opening a position on at this point, and then just hold this for the long-term future. PayPal is another very interesting stock that I'm watching. After earnings, it dropped, very similar to Pinterest. Continues to sell off. Looks pretty good on the RSI. The MACD is bearish and going more bearish. I do not have a position in PayPal, but I think that I will open one if it continues to drop. Just everything that they're doing as far as the Bitcoin and their app, I just think that PayPal has a nice future in front of it. So I would start to look to accumulate if it continues to drop more. Lordstown Motors, ticker symbol RIDE, RIDE. This is a very interesting stock. As you can see, it's very oversold. It's been missing earnings. It's been dropping overall with the market. It's had a bunch of different articles written about it, shady stuff going on. I do have a position in it. I'm not very happy with where the stock is going. I don't really believe in the company that much anymore. I'm kind of just holding a bag and waiting for it to go up in the next couple of years. So feel free to buy in at this point. I think the levels are now worth opening a position. I mean, it's $4, and it was about $32 at high. It's very tied to Workhorse. Workhorse had some bad publicity when it didn't win its USPS contract. So if that turns around, maybe this stock turns around. I don't know. Just keep an eye out for it. Might be worth it. Alright, I know this video is getting long, but I'm trying to race through these. There's a bunch of them that I'm interested in, so I wanted to share them with you. Maybe I should have made a part 2, but I didn't, so there's a couple more we can go through. But Tattoo Chef, this is a huge one. Dropped off of earnings. As you can see, the MACD is super bearish. RSI is, at the bottom. It has been an overall sell-off, but it's been very volatile. I think this is something that's going to be huge in the future. It's basically vegan prepared food in your supermarkets like Target, Walmart. I think there's great potential for this, and there's a prominent YouTuber that loves this stock. It's been at 20s for a long time, dropped. I would consider buying long-term call options on this one. I think this is going to be big eventually. Next stock up here is Upwork, UPWK. It's an app that basically matches freelancers to work. I bought it as it was running up. I almost doubled the money that I put into it. Everything was going well, and we had good earnings, but as with the rest of the market, it just crashed and sold off. At this point, I'm just going to hold my position and ride the recovery back up. I really should have just sold and took profits, but I did not, and now this is where we are. So I think it's a great company. I think you guys should consider buying it and holding it for the, I guess, medium to long term. Workhorse, we already talked about with Ride, electric vehicle company, last mile delivery trucks. They lost the United States Postal Service contract around here, obviously, and you can see it just crashed. We've been consolidating. There's some news that they're in a lawsuit with the post office to try to get the contract back. I don't know if that's going to be successful, but I think at the levels that it's at now is very attractive. They have other things going. And also what you got to keep in mind is there's a lot of people holding the bag on Workhorse. So all it takes is some good news, and I think that the stock could jump up. It's also very shorted too, so it could be a Reddit favorite at some point here today. And the last stock up is Wynn Resorts. Major sell-off. It was doing pretty well for me, and now it's selling off even with good earnings. I think this is a long-term hold. It's been around the 120 range for a bit now, and now we're at 88. So definitely a deal if you want to wait it out. And that's it, guys. I appreciate you guys looking to see what we got. I apologize for how long the video was. We will in the future go over these a little bit quicker, and we'll have less to talk about. But I really just wanted to give you a long list of all the stocks that I'm currently looking at with this sell-off. So feel free to go back to the video, make notes, see which stocks you like, and follow up with them as you feel appropriate, and subscribe and keep up with me and see what I think as far as the future looks for some of these stocks. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. See you in the next one.